What's up, y'all? I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. It's sunny. We're getting into the rainy season and the sun feels so good. Hey, I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I have been thinking about lately. One is neurodivergence and emotional oscillation. So neurodivergent. So that's the term that's being thrown around today for people like me that are like ADHD, creative, just kind of thinks differently, sees the world differently. Neurodivergent just means you don't think or see the world quite like the general population, I think. That's my understanding of it. So I'm diagnosed ADHD, all kinds of other fun labels, but I'm also a really creative person in that I like the expression of emotion and feelings through art and music and various mediums of expression. And I love that. I haven't always accepted being different. I haven't always accepted that I'm not what is considered normal and celebrated it at the same time. So it's always been, with me, it's always been this idea of, yeah, I'm different. That's like cool. Especially when people would point things out like that I saw differently or whatever. But the reality of being neurodivergent and growing up in the environment that I grew up in was not beneficial. And I'm not saying there's one reason why it was so hard. I'm also considered a highly sensitive person, meaning that it's a category of personality. Dr. Elaine Aron coined the term highly sensitive person to explain a certain set or cluster of traits that we see in people that are highly sensitive. That comes with a whole set of challenges, but that's not, I don't really want to get into the weeds on any of this stuff. But the idea of being different and trying to celebrate that while dealing with undiagnosed trauma, it's a hard pill to swallow. And even the way that I understand things now makes it easier, and I can celebrate my differences, and my wife celebrates the differences that she saw in me, and that was one of the reasons that she chose me, was because of the way I am. I had tried to fit in to a certain narrative for most of my life and was really unsuccessful, I think. Well, no, I think I pulled it off. I just reviewed my entire life really quickly, and I pulled it off. No one knew how fucked up I was, and that I was a hopeless alcoholic, a drug addict, depressed, anxious, always scared, fearful of things, hypervigilant, a mess, like textbook mess. But I'm really happy. Underneath all of that, there is a contentment, a joy that I've found that just gets kind of covered up, some days more than others. I truly love myself and know how wonderful I am. But it doesn't always feel that way. I mean, sure, right now I've been thinking about something I want to talk about on a video, and I kind of prep for that. But there is a reality that comes with being neurodivergent that isn't always the cool creative dude or whatever, whoever you are, if you're feeling some connection with what I'm saying, you know what I mean. But some of those differences also come with what I refer to as emotional oscillation. That could be the good start to a tongue twister, couldn't it? Emotional oscillation. Emotional oscillation. Emotional oscillation. That's what it is. So I can go through every goddamn emotion on the planet in the human species in a day. And while my moods and feelings and thoughts and emotions maybe oscillate at a very high rate, everyone does this. Throughout the day, pay attention to yourself. Did you feel slightly depressed? I don't mean clinically depressed. I mean down, blue. Have you felt joy today? Have you felt excitement? Have you felt anger? Like, think about all the shit you went through in one day, like yesterday or today, depending on when you're watching this. And what level of oscillation are you observing in your mood states? This is really interesting to me because when I objectively observe my thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences throughout the day, when I step back and look at them, I experience them with a very different perspective. I'm not attached to myself in the times when I'm analyzing thoughts and feelings and all this shit. But this ties into the internal family systems stuff that I've talked about, the therapy where you have different parts of your psyche, your anger and your all these other emotions, but also your critic, your self-critic, your others critic, your judge. Like, there's a lot that happens, and I would venture to say that most people don't have a fucking clue what's happening in their body because, one, they either just don't realize that this is what happens in a human psyche, or two, they are aware of it and really don't like it. Or three, they do recognize and like and observe, and they're the epitome of what I'm talking about. So we all go through this, but I've started to take notes. And I'm reading a book called The Vagus Nerve Reset. I don't remember the lady's name, but one of the forms in the book is like a template for emotional tracking or mood tracking. I forget what she called it. It's a great idea. But in the beginning, it made me like, this is a lot happening. It's no wonder. You guys listen, if you drink alcohol and you're aware of emotional oscillation, and I'm not telling you to be doing something you shouldn't be doing, but if you already drink, think about that emotional oscillation and what happens to it when you drink. Alcohol was the best thing that ever happened to me for a long time. I know I'm different in how I talk about this stuff. I spent a lot of years in and out of AA and all this stuff. And it's not really how you tend to talk about alcohol, but the honest, fucking hardcore truth is that alcohol works. It worked for me for a long time. And then I ended up wearing out the tool. Oh, fuck. Don't do it. Yeah, I just wore out the tool, man. It was like there was nothing left. It's like a pencil. So if you remember using pencils or you still use pencils, what happens every time you use it? You use some of it up. like it starts to go away, and you have to sharpen it, and you break the tip, and then you sharpen it again, and then you use it, and eventually you wear it out. Like that resource, that tool, the pencil, can't last forever. And it's the same way with alcohol, let me tell you. Well, some people drink their whole lives. I have to admit, some people do it and it doesn't kill them. But the way I drank, that doesn't happen. You end up dead or in jail or in a psych ward. And I'm okay with that, but I'm also honest in that, look, there's a reason why people struggle with alcohol, and it's because it works and it suppresses emotions and feelings and thoughts of horrible fucking stuff that happened to me. It works. But your body can only take so much for so long, and you have to give it up or kill yourself trying. So my moods and feelings oscillate so much and so often throughout the day that it can be a little overwhelming to track these things, because it just makes me feel shittier. Like I have to pay attention so carefully in order to make sure a negative thought, emotion, or feeling doesn't run away from me, like get carried away. When I stopped drinking, one of the things that it took years, but one of the things that I'm seeing now is that oscillation of emotions, and how I wouldn't call myself a healthy individual yet, but I'm really on my way. A healthy individual will be able to adapt and adjust and pivot and experience these things throughout the day in a way that is a form of processing, whereas I can attach myself most often to negative. I attach myself to a thought or a message, a narrative. The day is fucked, and that's just the theme that I attach to the rest of the day. And as you can imagine, it doesn't fare well. I don't fare well the longer the day goes on with that attitude. I was reading in that book, The Vagus Nerve Reset, this morning. I read a paragraph, and it was really, it ended up being kind of funny, because it was the exact same thing that my wife says to me all the time. And I know it, but it was about negative perspective on things that happen, like throughout the day. I see things negatively. It's my default lenses. And what it does is it creates this domino effect. And once I attach to negativity, or should I say, once negativity attaches to me, then it's like I allow the rest of my day to be viewed in a negative light. So once I attach to negativity, somebody walking by gives me a sideways look. They didn't, but if somebody walks by and gives me a sideways look, man, I create the scenario that my brain thinks is going to happen, and how they're going to come confront me about something, I don't know what. It's fucking crazy, but I do, and I'm like, just negative. about someone, and it's so unfair because they didn't do anything. They just looked at me. I've talked about the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. One being, don't take anything personally. And it's so simple and so straightforward. There's really not this deep esoteric message involved in that. Don't take shit personally. And I do. And I'm recognizing it more because of that emotional oscillation. I'm like, oh, whoop, I see what just happened. And then I can look at it as an observer and be like, wait, there was a piece of trash that blew across in front of me. That's probably what they were looking at, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, trauma on top of all of this, it starts to look really messy. And these messages that I've taken on and am actively trying to change now are the ones like, I'm not good enough. That's my most common negative life theme, is that I'm just not good enough, which is almost worse than like thinking I'm the worst thing that ever walked the earth, because I can kind of cope with I'm just not good enough, but it taints your entire experience. So this emotional oscillation, observation, analysis is so important to my recovery because it helps me see the absurdity of a lot of the messages that I choose to follow or believe. Yeah, I'm starting to feel like I got about everything out that I needed to say. I feel a little more empty now. But man, I love you guys. I've got 50 subscribers, and chances of everybody watching every one of these videos is slim. But man, if you're getting something out of this, please pass it on to someone else. It's just me. I'm just trying to talk about the things that I struggle with and the things I've experienced and celebrate and all that stuff. That's all it is, but it all has to do with trauma and like things that have happened that I'm overcoming, that I'm choosing to not get wrapped up into and believe. So if I can help anyone, like one person, I think 50 subscribers is pretty fucking pro. Yeah. But please pass it on. I really do believe that just listening to others going through things can be so helpful. But I'm going through the drive-through now at Walgreens. I got to go get my crazy meds. I take a lot of different meds. Anyway, I love you guys. If you're struggling with any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. Message me or just post a comment like on this video. So I love you. Have a great day.